As an uneasy calm prevails in the valley, India Today gets you a comprehensive ground report from the very heart of the place where there was unrest over the last few days. The streets are now deserted and the paradise has been turned into a fortress. Gaurav Sawant with this report from downtown Kashmir. It's an India Today exclusive.
CRPF Convoy, which is now travelling through downtown, and India Today is the only channel that has access to this convoy. We are now walking down these streets of downtown Srinagar to ensure that the situation remains calm. That's what the CRPF and the Jammu and Kashmir police are trying to do. There is a senior officer who's leading this convoy, the commandant of a battalion. There is one company commander and several vehicles as part of this convoy. What is extremely important, there is curfew in place, and all across there is apprehension that stones could be pelted from any side, and that is why it is very essential to wear a helmet at all times. The convoy will travel through all the streets of downtown Srinagar, and this is being done to ensure that the people who want to pray peacefully have an opportunity to pray peacefully. Additional CRPF forces have been deployed in this area. There are people who've assembled in some corners here. Additional troops deployed, whether it's the CRPF or the Jammu and Kashmir police. 2 additional army battalions have been deployed at the line of control because there is apprehension that terrorists like Hafiz Mohammed Saeed, the Lashkar-e-Taiba, they could try and take advantage of this situation and form trouble at the line of control, infiltrate, join these crowds and create trouble, not just today but in the weeks to come. All eyes on the crucial Friday prayers. What is it that would be said there? Will it lead to peace returning to the valley, or will it lead to more tension, more trouble? Now, their deployment, 1, is massive, and 2, appeals are being made in every nook and cranny. Appeals being made to student leaders, to other leaders, to ensure that there is no more bloodshed. Now, strict instructions have meanwhile been issued to security forces. Unless it is inevitable, do not use lethal force. They will only use non-lethal force should there be any situation. As you can see, in every street corner, there is deployment of forces. The only vehicles that are moving are ambulances. Now, this is a term that is used extensively in Jammu and Kashmir. It's called tarbandi. There is massive tarbandi, or roadblocks have been set up by the security forces in most areas. But as you look around, you see in some of these areas, there is fear that stones could be hurled from windows.
The only TV crew to be reporting from downtown Kashmir. But what about the Jamia Mosque area? This has been the nerve center for separatists, often after Friday prayers. There are protests witnessed over here. Executive editor Gaurav Sawant was right there, sent us this report.
The historic Jamia Mosque of Srinagar, not the oldest but the biggest mosque in Srinagar. But at this point of time, in this downtown Srinagar area, there is curfew. Friday prayers will not be offered at this mosque. The only vehicles that are allowed to move at this point of time are ambulances like this one, so that emergency services are not affected. An ambulance this side, an ambulance that side. These are the only vehicles that are moving at this point of time. There has been a bout of stone pelting earlier. At this point of time, massive deployment of the Central Reserve Police Force. If we just turn around, CRPF and Jammu and Kashmir police deployed in all this area. This is a historic trouble spot. This is downtown Srinagar in the heart of it. This time, first time, not in this mosque, but in some of the mosques around, there would be prayers after Burhan Wani of the Hizbul Mujahideen was killed. Will it lead to peace after these prayers, or will it lead to more violence, is the big apprehension. Now, just when you walk a little ahead, this is the road that leads to Nohata. Last week, when withdrawal was taking place from here, a grenade was hurled at the security forces. 22 people were injured in that. With me is the commanding officer of one of the battalions that is deployed here. So, what kind of arrangements are being made in view of Friday to ensure peace remains?
See, basically restrictions have been imposed just to avoid movement and configuration, so that if the crowd is there, then unruly move can be mobilized. Just to avoid that, restrictions have been imposed. Our deployments are there. Boys are already alert, and we are maintaining the full restraint.
In this particular area, when withdrawal was taking place, and we've seen those images, just when withdrawal was taking place, a grenade was hurled at the CRPF personnel. 22 CRPF personnel were hurt. What effort is being made to ensure, one, that something like that doesn't happen, or should it happen, it does not lead to escalation and violence?
See, such type of possibilities cannot be ruled out, but yes, now the boys are more alert. We have passed on the instructions that at the patrol timings, more precautions must be taken. Area must be sensitized, and we avoid any interference by any of the public in between during those times, because that is the most vulnerable time.
My colleague Shuja ul Haq is now with us on the phone line. Shuja, there seems to be relative calm across Kashmir today. Is it safe to say that the restrictions that have been put in place have worked?
Well, Padmaja, yes, there is a relative calm today. There have been some incidents of, crisis at certain places, but it seems that the strict curfew and restrictions seem to have worked. Remember, Padmaja, we've been talking about today's importance. Friday was considered to be very crucial for the security forces, and that's why we saw extreme level of vigil being maintained, very, very strict curfew. In fact, many people have been complaining that they could not even find, basic essentials like milk for babies. That was the level of, curfew that was maintained. Also, mobile phones, networks have been completely down. Till yesterday, we could at least, access, we did have access to basic mobile connectivity, but today that has also been snapped. There are only few network lines which are working. So all this put together, it seems like the authorities maintained very strict curfew and restrictions in most parts of the valley, and that so far seems to have worked. One can only hope that peace and calm prevails throughout the day as well, because the toughest time mostly is during the evening when these paramilitary forces start to sort of retreat and go back from their duties. So one can only hope that it remains like this for the evening as well.
Absolutely, fingers crossed. That's what everyone wants. A better sense prevails and peace returns to the valley that has remained tense over the last 1 week. Shuja ul Haq, thank you very much for joining us. But even as Kashmir begins to calm down, it seems that Pakistan will simply not have that, because again and again they are trying to provoke India. In fact, on the issue of Kashmir, Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, even had a special cabinet meeting today in Islamabad, where he said that India cannot, quote unquote, suppress the Kashmiri media and the Kashmiri people. Sharif claimed that India's supposed excessive use of force is fueling the freedom movement in Kashmir. He also upped the ante against India at the United Nations, where Islamabad has sought an independent probe into the casualties suffered in Kashmir. They called the situation in Kashmir, and I quote them again, a grave threat to security.
देखिए, सबसे पहली बात तो ये है कि ये पहले भी स्पष्ट किया जा चुका है विदेश मंत्रालय की ओर से भी और सरकार के प्रवक्ताओं की ओर से भी कि भारत अपने आंतरिक मामलों में किसी प्रकार के हस्तक्षेप के पक्ष में नहीं है, भले ही वो पाकिस्तान की ओर से हो या दूसरे किसी देश की ओर से हो।
Kaswar Klasra now joins me on the phone line from Islamabad. Kaswar, what exactly is the locus standi for Pakistan to even be convening a cabinet meeting on the issue of Kashmir, when by all indications, not just from India but other countries as well, this is India's internal issue? What was the purpose of convening this cabinet meet at all?
First of all, let me tell you that Pakistan doesn't admit that the situation there in Kashmir Valley is resolved to India's internal affairs. Pakistan doesn't resort to this important point. But as far as your question about Pakistan's cabinet meeting is concerned, it met there in Lahore Government House today, and it was really important one. There has been taken important decision. First of all, the Pakistan condemned what's going on there in Kashmir Valley, and secondly, the important point is Pakistan has announced that the coming Tuesday will be celebrated as Jamia, means the the Black Day. Pakistan will celebrate it as the Black Day. The third important point is Pakistan has asked its Ministry of Foreign Affairs to draft strategy and to be sent to the Pakistan's envoys. They are stationed globally just to expose what Indian aggression, what they call that Indian aggression in Kashmir Valley. So clearly, Pakistan has taken a strong point, and I have never seen such a strong reaction from Pakistani side in 15
well,
to
Kaswar,
20
you know,
years.
they've been given a snub, they've been delivered a snub at the UN after Maliha Lodhi raised this issue, but it seems that now they want their other high commissioners also to take a cue from Maliha Lodhi. For now, thank you very much for joining us. There's breaking news coming in.